philosophy is that of liberty should be very thrilling. I've traveled around the United States. I've been to a lot of different areas. I've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of different people from all over the United States. And the idea of Vermont's independence, self-sufficiency, and willingness to blaze new trails is so alien and unique to all these other states. States much bigger than ours. And it's almost shocking to them that we as Vermonters do like to chart our own course. We do like to vote in an independent who happens to be a socialist. We do like to blaze the trail on marriage equality. We do like to be different. In a Ron Paul presidency, that's not going to be a mark against us. It's going to be something that will be pointed to as a wonderful model for the other states to follow.
We haven't touched on his foreign policy, which a lot of people also consider controversial. Why would that be? How is he different from the other Republicans?
Okay, how is he different? Well, how is he different from the other candidates? Because
Right.
let's be honest with you, there is a consensus going on in Washington. It's a consensus of war. It is a consensus of occupation. It is a consensus of empire building. Democrats and Republicans have contributed over the last 20 years or more in developing an overseas empire of over 900 military bases in 130 countries. That we've involved ourselves in petty squabbles, we've involved ourselves in minor wars, we've invaded countries, we've overthrown regimes, all in the name of democracy. But the truth of the matter is that occupying nations like Japan, Germany, England, France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece, Australia just now, makes absolutely no sense. Why are we there? What are we accomplishing? Ron Paul asked that question. Why do we need to have 900 military bases around the world? We're fighting terrorists. We're not fighting the Soviet Union. We're fighting a band of thugs, not a well-organized army. That's the problem. You see, right now we're on war footing with Iran. Why? Because of perception, because of the possibility down the road that something may occur, that a threat may arise, which 40 years ago would have been totally unacceptable. In fact, the American public would be in the streets asking, why are my sons and daughters being sent overseas to die for what is perceived to be a threat, but not really? That's where he's different. There's nothing wrong with defending the United States. In fact, he makes the differentiation between military spending and defense spending. Defense spending is about protecting the borders of the United States, providing for the safety and security of our interests. Military spending is about putting navies out in the Persian Gulf, about putting military bases in countries that should be able to defend themselves. It's about engaging in wars that really we should have never been involved in. And I think there's a pretty good consensus that Iraq was a mistake and that we really have lost more than we've ever gained in that invasion. So that's why he's so controversial, is because he's actually saying, if we're going to go to war, if we're going to engage our lives and our treasures, if we're going to take the chance of, well, basically destroying our position in the world, not only do we have to have a very good reason, but we should follow the Constitution and actually declare a war. You see, the irony is that we haven't declared a war since 1945. For the last 60 years, we have been going to war on just edict, just going to war without ever having a full and fair discussion about what is the best interest of the American people. And it's always interesting that the people who declare the wars are not the ones who march off and die. It's the sons and daughters of the average people of this state and every state who have the honor of dying for a police action to stop communism, to overthrow that nasty dictatorship in Grenada, or overthrow a dictator we put in place in Iraq or Panama. We've lost so much. We've lost who we are as a nation. And one of the things that we had been warned about early on in the Republic is that the greatest danger to our democracy is not external enemies, but in the constant warfare that allows the expansion. War is the lifeblood of the megastate, and we're feeding that. And as a result, we're sacrificing our liberties for little gain.
Well, we have just a couple minutes left.
Mm.
So I wanted to ask you, since Vermont is probably one of the bluest of the blue states,
Mhm.
could it ever go for Dr. Ron Paul over Barack Obama in a general election?
I don't see why not. I know that may sound kind of interesting to say that, but let's look at, again, who is the people that are supporting Ron Paul. Veterans and members of the military, but also young people. Also people who are interested in peace. We have people who want to change, but got 4 more years of George Bush's policies. We have a situation where there are people in the streets, the occupation movement, who are trying to figure out, why do corporations get all the deals and we get all the bills? That's the same question Ron Paul is asking. There are people out there who's saying, wait a minute, we were against the war to begin with, why are we starting another? Those are the people that Ron Paul is speaking to. But there are also people out there who are saying, our fiscal house, where are we going? Why are we handing out money to corporations? Why are we sliding into bankruptcy that could destroy your life savings and mine? Why are we letting the inflationary policies of the Federal Reserve destroy the retirements of our grandparents? Ron Paul is speaking to those people as well. Demographically, Ron Paul is actually appealing to the very base that gave Barack Obama a victory in 2008. But the truth of the matter is unlike Obama, Ron Paul actually has a history of talking about these issues and doing something about them. And I think if the average Vermonter had a chance to explore that background, to hear the man speak, to consider their best interests, not their fears, but their hopes. And if they really want real change, then there's only one candidate, and that would be Ron Paul. However, if you want to just keep hoping and you want to continue the policies that have put us in this situation, and you want to wait another 10, 12 years before we get out of this recession, well, then you'd probably vote for Barack Obama.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming on the Catamount Room.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you making the trip down here. And I wish you best of luck in your efforts for your candidate.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today on the Catamount Room. We'll see you next time.